Welcome back to the RIL and WILLS podcast.
Let's go.
Leon, what are you saying?
There, man. We're there. We're trying. We're getting there, slowly but surely. Slowly but surely.
We were supposed to do episode with a guest and then an episode without a guest, but because we had a little bit of a hiatus, we decided to do two guests back to back. Today, we're bringing in a familiar face. Someone that you all will be, very familiar with. He's been on some big events, talking KSI and Logan. We're talking about coming down to gym box, going into the Coliseum with the likes of myself. The Coliseum, and it's none other than FaZe Sensei.
Oh,
He's here today.
I'm here. Our first podcast,
how you
by
doing?
the way. This is my first official podcast, at least. I've never done one.
Okay.
That's
See,
good,
history.
good.
Yes.
You know what I like, Leon. Our guests always say that they don't usually do it, but for us, they'll do it. So
that's real. That's real, man.
Grateful.
That's real. We rate that.
How are you, man? How you doing?
I'm good. Staying busy. I'm playing actually football now, American football. Leon knows about that. So we had a rough game last night, so I'm recovering from that. Some bumps and bruises, but nothing out of the ordinary. But I'm enjoying it. This keeping everyone healthy. With the pandemic here, I've been teaching online classes for the martial arts. Some in person, doing outdoor classes. So a lot busier than before. So I haven't been uploading a lot, just because it's the schedule was crazy before. Now it's even crazier. But yeah, things are getting smoother now. So finally getting outside, doing some things, playing some sports, getting busy.
Nice.
Yeah. So Sensei,
what position you play? Yo, go on.
No, I was gonna say, Sensei, what? So your gym is closed at the moment. No one can train inside your gym.
No, we can, but it has to be like limited amount of people, and it has to be like sign up only. So we're using like all this software to people sign up, and a lot of people don't want to come in. So some people dropped out. So we're just doing our best to make it work. So it's just a lot smaller classes, which is affecting things. But we're doing outdoor and online. I'm doing everything. So
nice. Business has to keep moving.
Yes, sir.
Business has to keep moving.
Yes, sir.
What position you playing?
Quarterback. QB number 1.
Yeah, QB1.
Hey.
Let's go.
QB1.
So what, Lee, the position you played, would you have to crush him?
Yep, I have to murder him, man.
I was gonna say Leon looks like a middle linebacker. What were you, middle linebacker?
Yeah, middle linebacker.
That position I hate. Oh, he plays the mic.
Yeah, I used to play Mike.
I hate the mic. So linebackers always sneaking around, but I wouldn't be able to miss Leon. That's for sure. On the field.
That's speed, man.
Nah, it's good to hear. It's good to hear that you're busy. Nah, it's good to hear you're busy, even though you're not uploading. You're not just sitting at home chilling. So that's good. But let's get into the story time. Since it's your first podcast, this is good, so we can get some fresh information. Talk to us about growing up as a fighter from a fighting background. Your dad was a fighter, teacher, and how was it growing up in a household where you got those values of a fighter?
My dad did some boxing competition. He did some like old school karate competition too, like way back in the day. But by the time I was growing up as a kid doing martial arts, we weren't actually a big competition school. Mainly the martial arts school was just mainly training and just education, and then testing and ranks. But there was not a lot of competition. I started training in the 90s. And we just weren't big into the tournaments. Some people competed. My older brother did, but I didn't do a lot. I actually didn't start competing until like after. It was purely YouTube influenced, which is a lot of people. I try to explain it, but I actually didn't start really competing until I was a YouTuber, and my YouTube channel was about to die. Like I left the FaZe house. I was moving back home, and I was like, you know what? My vlogs were getting like 400 views, and I was like, it's going down. So I decided to do I decided to sign up for an MMA fight, and I said I'll do it if all like my friends in FaZe show up, So you didn't have any
competitive like fights before your YouTube channel? Before you went?
No, I did like the karate tournament as a teenager, and then I did have one MMA fight, an amateur one. It was against a wrestler, and it was just not a great experience for me, as you can see, against a wrestler. But that was a couple years before then. But I was not. I was not training as a fighter. I was not like training. I wasn't like in a camp. I was just teaching, and I just did a mini camp for that first MMA fight, and then it went well. You know, I took it from there.
Yeah, you know it's funny because I started doing karate when I was 7, and I was competing straight away.
Yeah, some schools are like that. It's just the school. Whatever we have some schools too. Like it depends. Same thing with Taekwondo or certain schools. With BJJ, most schools are competition, but with karate and Taekwondo, some schools are either like they drive you to do competition or they don't. You know. So
yeah.
But Lee, you know what our parents are like? They ain't trying to waste time about you just learning. It's true. They're gonna say to you, "Listen, you better be fighting or something, otherwise you're wasting my time."
Yeah,
it's true. Time and money.
Yeah. For real, time and money. But that's interesting. I didn't know that. I thought you had some fights before you decided to. Oh, okay.
So everything you see on YouTube was the beginning of me starting to compete, and that was it. And I would just take a fight. There was a local organization where I fought under a combat zone. So I had a deal. I said, okay, if I can fight for you guys, and I was just doing amateur only. I just you have to give me the footage so I can make some YouTube videos. So they were the only organization that agreed to it. So I was like, okay, then I'll do it. You know, so I just took that one MMA fight, and then I took like an amateur kickboxing match again against all these amateurs, and it was just that's all it was. But it was working.
Man, that's interesting. That is something new. I didn't know.
I never would have thought.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, I train and I teach. You know, but it was never a competition. My dad competed young, but as soon as he opened up his martial arts school, he focused on the business and martial arts school, and he stopped competing. So he stopped his competition when he was like 25. So and then when he had his kids and he opened up his dojo, he didn't compete anymore. So competition was never a big thing, right?
A thing like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So where are you based? In Boston, right?
Yeah, like 30 minutes north of Boston. Yeah.
Okay. So is there many other dojos in your local area?
Oh yeah.
In the neighborhood?
Yeah. Martial arts is pretty popular. We have like three karate schools. We have like 2 jiu-jitsu schools just in my town alone. We're like a small town. And then you go, we have 3 dojos in 3 neighboring towns. So we have 3, 1 in our town and then 2 next door. And I help my dad.
Okay.
I have my dad run all 3. I run one of them, and I help my dad run the other 2.
Okay, that's dope.
Do you guys in the dojo, even though you was raised as like to learn, not to compete, do you like to influence your students now to compete, or do you have the same approach with them?
We encourage them to want to compete, but if someone wants to compete in our school, we make sure that they start training at a school that is like they can start training with us. Okay. But if you're gonna want to do kickboxing, you got to go to a place where they're sparring hard. They're getting ready they're doing the camp. I'm not gonna really be with somebody and train them to do a full fight, because we're not a school that, we're not like a.
It makes sense.
Because the difference between like a boxing gym is a gym where you got fighters, right? The martial arts school, we got classes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a lot. You know what I mean? So, and especially karate has that history where we're doing classes, not necessarily like fight camp or practice. Like we don't really have practice. It's different terminology.
Yeah.
We got class. So it's a different. But myself personally, I love to train, so I'll go to those gyms, and that's where I got my training. I'll go to the gyms to do MMA sparring. I'll go to the boxing gym and get some sparring, because I want to build myself. I love training. I love sparring. I love trying to be better as a martial artist. I don't mind getting beat up and learning. You know what I mean? Getting in there.
Yeah.
So that's my journey. Where I like to go out and just experience different kinds of martial arts, and especially the hardcore guys like you, professionals who have fought for real.
That's it.
Yeah, that's good.
That's that's nice.
A little new, huh? Didn't know that, huh? A little surprise there.
yeah. You see us, what kind of surprise? Because we didn't know the history, but that's why we like doing this anyway, because we really get to get the backdrop, the real information. But even though you was only like learning, not competing, did you ever encounter any fights in school, any fights on the street where you had to pull out some of those tactics?
Not fully. It's funny because my dad opened up the dojo in 1984. So I was born in 91, so 6 years before I was born. So he's been around for 35 years, and it's the same town. So a lot of people, like, they knew me as the karate kid growing up. And my dad is very much like, with the dojo, like, this is a karate traditional, right? Very respectful. So, like, I could never get in trouble. Like, if I got in trouble, I'd rather get arrested than get caught by my dad. It was like, you know what I mean? Like, because with the dojo in our town, like, the reputation of my dad's business in school. So it was like, I'm not getting any trouble. I got to be a super nice kid, super respectful. The only time I ever had to bring it out, like an upperclassman, like, tackled me, you know, in high school. He was a couple years older. You know, I got tested a few times, but it was just like wrestling stuff, and I
naturally
put a little rear naked choke on him and stuff like that. Some things like that. But one time I threw a kick. Some kid like squared up with me after football practice in high school, and I just I dropped my bag down and threw a roundhouse kick like this close to his face, just real quick. And then he was like, all right, never mind, and just left.
We know that's your shit as well. Them roundhouse
Speciality.
I know.
That's it. We know that's what you're out there doing. What's the one you do when you're in the air for like 10 seconds?
Oh my God, I don't know, the 720, cheat twist, all the fun trick stuff. That's the other thing too. I don't know if you really know, but the karate world, the sport karate world, we have the tricking aspect of the martial arts, which is the form aspect, which is really popular and is really fun for kids. So I grew up, a lot of my pastime is a lot of practicing that. You know, we have a student who, a girl who's actually like a 15-time world champion in forms. So she does forms.
Yeah.
This girl Olivia, she's like 13, and she just like, she can do stuff that I can only dream of in competition. And she travels the world and does form competition and for Team USA. But she came from us, started from us, and does the whole form sport karate too. So
yeah.
Jeez. Okay, so that's a little fight history.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of before the whole YouTube thing.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about FaZe Clan. How did that come about? I know FaZe Clan to be a huge gaming a huge gaming group. That's how they were brought to my attention. So how did you manage to get involved with them as a fighter?
Well, the owner, the founder, the starter of it all, FaZe Temper, right? Happens to be a young kid from my town. And when he graduated high school, he signed up for my adult martial arts class and became my student. And then we became friends. I started teaching him privates, training. Very similar to how you met KSI. Very similar.
Yeah.
How he started, he had a love for boxing, and then your relationship grew from then. Same thing with me and Tommy. He started training at the dojo. For the first year and a half, I had no idea what FaZe Clan was. Didn't even know what FaZe was, or he was one of the best Call of Duty players ever. Then we started like hanging out. He invited me over, and then I learned about it. And then that's when they invited me over to live at the first FaZe house in New York. And then that's when because they're just a bunch of gamers, so they're like, oh, it'd be sick to have Sensei here, who can like work everybody out and train. He has good head on his shoulders, kind of, you know.
How many people was in the house? How many people were staying in the house?
In that first one, it was me, Tommy, Ricky, Tico, Apex, Lucas Norton, like 7.
Yeah.
7 people, and it was just in Long Island. So, but a lot of these guys were right out of high school, so and just gaming all day. So, but it was cool, and that's how I started my channel. But then I moved from there after the first year because I didn't want to go to LA because I didn't want to leave the dojo right away because that was such a big part of. I'm a big part of helping my dad.
Loyal to the soil.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about.
If I leave, it would be a big damper on the dojo, right? I'm a big part of it with doing with my dad. So I said, I don't want to go that far. I'll go to New York for a year. And then I traveled every month to and from Boston and New York. I would drive to make sure I'm still being a part of the school and staying connected and training and stuff like that. But yeah, then they moved to LA. I moved back to Boston. My channel didn't really grow, and then that's when I started competing because I needed to do something on YouTube.
Okay.
Boy,
crazy,
that channel,
crazy, bro.
Listen, hey Lee, that YouTube channel pressure is a different pressure, you know.
I can imagine.
I'm
when the numbers
you,
are not looking right,
When the numbers are looking bad, it makes you start looking at some desperate ideas. I'm telling you, because you think, where am I gonna get this attention from? Where am I gonna gather the audience?
Ooh,
yeah.
You're telling me
that's crazy though. So the guy that
fight,
created FaZe is from your town.
Mm-hmm. We grew up in the same place, same high school, everything. I got that to me. I got super blessed and lucky. Opportunities, came together, and then just made the most of it. I just kept swinging for the fences. That first MMA fight was crazy because I'm like, either this is gonna go well, guys, or it's gonna be a disaster, and no one's gonna want to upload it because the sensei just got beat up. It's gonna go one way or the other, So
I remember seeing the clip. Because you had the Logic soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you had the Logic soundtrack. I remember seeing that actually because JJ said, FaZe Sensei is coming to spar. He was shook as hell as well at that time. He was shook as hell. What year was that? 2018.
I don't even know. It feels like forever.
Yeah, probably about 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, probably about 2 years ago.
Wow.
2 years ago. That's mad. Even Lee, when I think we've known each other 4 years, that scares me.
Mad. Listen, someone reminded me the other day. I couldn't believe it. It's scary.
Listen,
I have no recollection of time. Like
no
everything feels like
recollection.
it's one blur. It's like one blur.
100%.
Crazy.
You say 2 years ago? I'm like, what?
Yeah, no, it's flying. It's flying. So from a YouTuber perspective, what would you say is the hardest thing? Obviously, being consistent is always difficult, but what would you say? What's the hardest thing you had to overcome having your channel and keeping it going, keeping people interested, and then also like the heights? When do you feel like you had your highest period on your channel?
Yeah, with when it comes to like consistency, it's hard because YouTube has a mind of its own. So you think a video is gonna do really well, like, oh, this is gonna be a banger. I got a good title, I got a good thumbnail, and then all of a sudden you're like, what happened? And then some video doesn't pop off. You know what I mean? Or it does pop off. I mean, like you have a video that you don't think is gonna do well, and then it does really well, or it does really well over time. So that's what surprised me. So people don't know this, but the fight that I had, the MMA fight, JJ hit me up actually because he watched that fight, and that was I think a year and a half to 2 years after that fight, or a year and a half after the fight is when he saw it. So even though I did the video and it had like 100,000 views at the time, it wasn't until a year and a half later that video ended up creating the relationship with KSI that ended up making that video to do 1 million, 2 million views, and then it created all this stuff to me to be able to fight on the undercard. And you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I tend to have that type of attitude with like, I'm just gonna keep putting stuff out there, and it's not like an immediate thing. And then, but if I keep pressing on it, it may lead to something, and then those videos will do better over time, and it's gonna be like a build. And I tell people 2 things, man. It's either videos do really well if it has to do with something that's really popular. You know what I mean? Like my videos are usually based off, it's very current and it's trending and whatever is going on. That has to do with your name and your brand, or you're famous by association. You're in videos with other people who are doing really well. You know what I mean? And that's how I started. I started with guys who are really well known, and I try to build off of that thing and then get my thing out there. You know what I mean? But I'm just glad they're keeping it going. I don't know what the deal with KSI and Jake. We might get into it, but I'm like, all right, so that's another year out. So I still got something there. I got some videos next year.
No, for real. So it gets like that, though, man. The content dries up. It dries up, man. Yes. But Leon's gonna start this channel soon. So
I want to be. You know what's crazy, yeah? So I've got this idea that I'm gonna show my transformation in it. Since COVID started. Well, since we came out of lockdown, my transformation, right? But I got back to the gym, then I started thinking, you know what? I ain't got time to be vlogging. I need to just work and grind. Like, it's hard to grind and vlog at the same time. It's the actual skill set. Yes. You need a cameraman. You do. So right now I'm a bit behind on that.
Yep.
But yeah.
The beginning stages are brutal. I have a friend, Jasper, that I now finally the last like 2 months who now edits my videos. I'm like, I give up on editing videos because thinking about editing a video discourages me from even making a video in the first place. When you have an editor, it makes it 10 times easier.
My whole life on YouTube, I've never edited one video.
That's a big difference.
Never edited one video. Like I said to myself, I'm not gonna have a YouTube channel if I have to learn how to edit, because I just don't want to. I don't want to spend my time doing it. I don't
especially
want to spend my time.
Especially if you're busy. Especially if you're you can't do that. No.
I'm trying to not get beat up every day. I'm not trying to sit down and
right.
clips.
It is a lot of work. I would say though,
a lot of work.
I'll give you this for advice for like in terms of content, like the guys, and this is from not from me, but from the guys who like from FaZe, they were all super young gamers, didn't know how to do anything, but this kid Alex FaZe Adapt, people will know who he is, but he's known as like an airhead, like he just says dumb stuff, but he's smart, but he says dumb stuff on purpose, but he's just known as one of those goofy kids. And he says something so funny because people ask him like, where do you get your video ideas? It doesn't make any sense. He's like, honestly, bro, it's just trial and error. Like, I don't really care. I just put stuff out there. I just know I'm gonna keep putting stuff out there. And if I keep doing that, like things will pop, and I'll grow from the video, or I'll learn from it. Like, oh, I never want to do that again. Like, I don't care if I have a bad video, because he's like, if I have a bad video, I just know, oh, I'm just not gonna do that again. I'll do something else.
And then move on.
Yeah, he's not afraid to put content out there. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So just put it out there.
Okay, now we're gonna get into what people want to hear about. We're gonna get into the juicy information. So, how did you feel the first time you sparred with JJ before the sparring session? So not whilst you're in there and you already got a feel for how he is. How was you feeling before the sparring session?
Which one?
The very first one.
The first one.
Yeah.
The very first one. Wait, right when we looked at each other, or like before
no, like when you was on the plane on the way here, just chilling, thinking, "Come on, I'm staying in his house, in the Sidemen house."
I know it felt great. I knew we were gonna spar. I knew he was like new, so to me, like it was just for me personally, I wanted to think, okay, I want to give him as much as I can, whatever I can give him. I'm gonna just dedicate these 5 days to give him anything I can, whether it's sparring or like information, anything I can do to help. I'm just gonna maximize this opportunity and try to help him as much as possible. I knew I chewed his ear off because I talk like crazy, but I was like, bro, I only got 5 days, so I'm gonna try to maximize, not just kick my feet up. You know what I mean?
Of course.
But yeah, it was crazy. I've never been overseas before, so that was just like, all right, going over here. No, I was like, all right, going to the Sidemen house, going to stay with KSI, going to spar. It was a little, it was wild. It was crazy.
Lee, are you hearing this?
But Americans, isn't it? No disrespect to the Americans. But a lot of you don't travel overseas. Like your vacation is going to another state.
Another state, or we go to like my family's from Puerto Rico, so like we go to Puerto Rico. That's it.
Yeah, but don't you count Puerto Rico as overseas?
Overseas, yeah.
Oh, we don't. No, we consider overseas if you have to go to Europe.
Like, over the Atlantic.
Yes.
Overseas.
Okay.
They mean literally overseas.
Yes, that's what we consider overseas. Anything like to Europe or the.
So if you went to Brazil, you wouldn't class that as overseas.
No, we wouldn't. I wouldn't classify that. I mean, I just went to Brazil, but when we say overseas, we mean
overseas.
like Europe,
Listen,
like
hey, Lee,
Dubai, stuff like that.
Okay. If I go to Amsterdam, I went overseas, but in my eyes.
Now that you say it like that, it makes sense. I never thought of it that way. But we just think over the Atlantic. If I touch a plane and touch down in another country, I went overseas. That's how I'm looking at it. Straight up.
Yeah.
But no, that meant wow. So, and JJ provided that whole experience, innit? He sorted everything out. JJ
was awesome. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. You know, because a lot of times I deal with a lot of YouTubers, and over time, and like staying with people, JJ by far was the best experience.
He knows how to. He knows how to host.
Proper guy.
He hosts. I had the room. They had a computer with it. It had like, all right, if you want to edit, we cleared it for you so you can edit videos. We got towels for you.
You know, he's a good like that. He sorts people out. He sorts people out. Man.
Yeah.
I was like, undeniably.
Yes.
And then how did you feel? I want to do it kind of in order. So our sparring session ended up banging some views. Ended up getting some good amount of views.
You and I, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That got good views.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel in that sparring session?
Oh, I was obviously really nervous. I was like, I knew I was gonna come out there. I'm like, okay, they might think, I don't know what he thinks of me, but I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna show him that I'm not coming out here to try to like bang right now because we're recorded, and I know that if you start throwing hard, it's gonna get dangerous. So, but I just wanted. I felt nervous, but I was excited though. For me, I when I get an opportunity to train with someone that I knew who's better than me, I get excited because I'm like, okay, this is something that's new for me. I have not experienced this yet as a martial artist. This is a completely new experience. I want to learn something, and then I'm like, okay. And then your footwork and your speed and your feints and stuff and your distance management, I was like, whoa, like right off the bat. I was like, this is different, you know? So that kind of motivates me. But then I got to get through the rest of the round. So that was the other part.
I just remember landing the body shot. I just remember landing the left hook to the body. But the thing that I remember most, about that day isn't actually the sparring. It's the picture afterwards. I look so fat in that picture. Remember me?
Yeah, I remember that.
No,
we was spending too much money in prep though. We was getting
too much in prep.
We was getting hard. What's the other place we used to get the steak?
Balance.
Steak for breakfast every day.
Steak and eggs.
Too hard with the food, man. Steak and eggs.
Yeah, we was going. I just remember looking at that picture. I was like, nah, I look chubby, man. I need to sort this out. I need to sort my life out.
You look like a big dude. I'm like, bro, he moves fast for that being that big, bro.
Man, I'm glad I don't look like that no more. I had to cut the hair off as well on that, man. I had to cut the hair off, man. I was like, this is long. And then tell me, cool, we got the sparring out the way. You didn't. Oh, this is a cool question. I'm gonna ask you right now. Why didn't you want to spar Leon?
I did. Leon didn't want to spar.
What?
When?
I asked to spar Leon.
No, I think he was meant to come back or do something.
Yes,
spar sometime.
We couldn't do it then. I wanted to do it then, but then we couldn't. And then we were trying to figure it out like when we came back out to LA, but there was like no opportunity to spar then. And I was like, definitely. I'm like, it's not gonna go well, but it's gonna be great for content because Leon has no sparring out there, and I definitely want to get some sparring in there. And I was gonna do some kickboxing thing, but I was like. I was obviously nervous. I'm like, I know what I'm asking for, but I've asked for worse.
Maybe God had your back.
When did you do patch? When did the whole patch for you? Was it at the
right
end of Viddal's? Or
no,
JJ's?
I think it was right after I sparred at KSI the first time.
Yeah, it was right after I sparred JJ first.
I was super tired, and then we held. I know. I could tell. I was like, Leon spars hard, but I'm like. Probably just gonna take me out with a body kick and then I'll be done, so I'll be fine.
Listen,
or a leg kick. Leon, where did he? Oh, there he is.
Yeah,
but I wanted to do it.
No, I'm always fair play. And then obviously you ended up on the first KSI Logan show.
I know, right? Oh wow.
When you fought Overflow. Cool guy as well. Shout out to him because you know he's a very cool guy. Since I've been out in Vegas, he took me up with a couple people as well that can help me along the way. So,
dope. That's cool.
Production wise, so shout out to him. How did fighting on that show feel? Like, how did it feel walking out in that audience, Manchester Arena? You know, a lot of people tuned into that event as well. Was that the highlight? Would you say of your fighting?
That is not even just a career. That's the highlight of my career right now. Yeah, that's in general. I have not had a any type of performance or event experience like that. When I think back at something, that is the one of one, you know, the 1A of everything. And not just that, I was able to get my whole family out there. So that's my first time my dad, my stepmom have been overseas to Europe. Okay, the first time.
Okay.
I got my little brother out there. My older brother too was out there. It's the first time they've all been overseas. So that was the first time they got to visit the UK, so they had that experience, and then, and my dad as a boxing fan, him seeing Michael Buffer for me to fight in this card in a big boxing event. So it was not even the fight, minus the fight itself, the whole experience, and then being able to be a part of the event, just walking out, just that alone, and having the family there was amazing. That was
the thing. Obviously, me and Leon, we're grateful for the experience, but for us, it's just like quick drive to Manchester.
I know.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not the same as overseas first time. Boom, boom, boom.
Yes.
Like, that's sick.
It was huge. My dad, my dad's almost 60. My mom, they never been to this side of the world, so to be able to do that for them.
Yeah, that's nice, man. That's nice.
To come to the UK, just that experience alone was so cool for them. So It was dope, man. It's crazy how YouTube can make like something like this. Two guys talking smack want to do some YouTube fight can make all this awesome stuff happen.
Can make all it. No, for real.
Yeah,
to generate that attention.
The domino effect, innit?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yep. It's crazy.
In some ways, as big as the Staples Center fight was, the second fight, the first fight was special because it was independent. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was done purely off the people that work within the community made it happen. You know,
different.
The undercard, everything. It has such a different vibe. Such a different vibe.
Totally.
A lot of the YouTube community preferred it.
The Manchester one.
They did
because it's their. It would have been it's their.
It's their it's their event. It's true.
Yeah, it's different like that. So.
Fast forward to another juicy time now.
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking about the second fight. KSI Logan, Leon, that camp, my bro. That camp, that second camp, listen, that was a hard camp, I'm telling you. And I'm going to be honest with you right now. I'm going to be honest with you right now. We told JJ to kill you.
Oh, I know. I can tell.
He had to.
I know he did.
Like, because that was the final straw for us.
Yeah, I know.
Final straw.
And that was the final straw.
It was the end of the camp. I knew it.
It wasn't even that. He was stressing us out.
He was stressing us out. Stressing us out.
Stressing us out.
And we know it's easy to measure his progression because he sparred you before.
Correct.
So we know how it was in the previous session, and we're saying if you've improved and you've been practicing and you've come all this way, you should be able to demolish Sensei.
He was so different. It wasn't even, I knew it as soon as I saw him. I was like,
yeah. And he probably, the way he was hitting you, I have to apologize because he's probably picturing me and Leon at that point. When he was when he was throwing them hooks, he probably was thinking about us because
I was like, he's taking my head off right now.
Was it the night before that we switched on him? Must have been the night before.
No, we switched on him. I think it was was it a week? I think it might have been a week.
The week before?
Or yeah, it was about a few days though. It was a few days.
Okay,
a couple of days.
But we went off on him anyway. We went off like, and we was like, listen, you gotta get this together. When Sensei lands, when he touches down, he's recording. He's gonna try to do you dirty. So you're gonna have to be on him.
But it's funny because I told him too when I went out to the spar. I said, bro, listen, when I go out to the spar, like I know you're training for a fight with Logan, so that's all the focus. So you need to try to take my head off. Like don't just go 100%. We're gonna spar and that's it. I'm not gonna come out whatever too. Let's just go at it. You know what I mean? You need to have like a real session. This is no joke. You know. So I told him that too. But then on top of that, so he came out swinging, which was good. That's what he's got to do.
He knew.
That's what he has to do.
He knew at that point. If he weren't swinging at you, I'm swinging at him. That's the point it got to.
Yeah.
No, for real. That's the point it got to. Me and Leon was at the point where we was like, listen, you give us something. But you know what is funny? You know what's funny, Lee? Is it's always just before Sensei arrives, things go like down.
Yeah, it's true.
Because even in Gibbs training camp, we said, look, bro, get your shit together because Sensei's about to land. It's like you're the it's like you're the catalyst in the camp. You actually play a big part,
a crucial
in the training
role,
camp.
a crucial part.
Crucial.
Yeah,
it's true.
Crucial.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, it's because we could get them sparring like hard guys or professional fighters and stuff. So in their mind, they might think, oh well, this guy's been doing it for X amount of years, so that's why he's better than me or whatnot. So when you come, they got no excuses.
Right,
I'm trying to perform.
I'm like that weird in between. Like I train, but I'm not a professional fighter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nor am I training like one. So that's why, like, I mean, my coach Tang gets so mad at me because he's like, bro, because like the Gib thing, Gib didn't answer me for a while, and then he answered me, but I was like, I was doing zero training, like just hanging out, making videos, whatever. So I'm like, oh, I don't know, Gib has cardio. I'm like, and we're wearing Like the only way I would beat Gib is like I'm gonna try to knock him out, but I'm not gonna be able to knock him out in sparring. So this is just gonna be 6 rounds of I'm gonna be after the second round I'm gonna be like sucking wind, and then in the third round he threw 100 and like something punches.
Like, Gib, one thing about that guy, yeah, he got cardio.
Yes.
Mad cardio.
He's got cardio.
Yeah.
I see him run the mountain 8,000 feet. He's running like his ground sea level. Like he's listen. There's something in his brain that is detached that don't let him feel like tired. I don't know what it is, but he can go through. Obviously, that's a very different experience to sparring with JJ. But after sparring with JJ the second time, when you came to spar with Gib, what was your mentality then going into that sparring session?
Well, I sparred JJ that was the third time I sparred him. Remember, I did because I came out I did Joe. I came out for Joe.
Oh yeah, you did. You done
and then
Joe,
Logan the first time.
Logan, and then
Logan the second time was like JJ 7.0. That was like a whole different.
That's when he was swinging. Yeah, he wanted to.
Because you and I sparred actually, Viddal, you and I sparred. I think.
Was it Logan or Weller?
It was the Logan. It wasn't Weller.
It was Logan. Yeah, it was Logan.
It was Logan. So that was the second time that I sparred. But he wasn't. You hadn't even started camp yet though. So I sparred KSI. No. You haven't just started at camp, and he was kind of like just working. But we got JJ the third one we had to spar.
That's when he was ready to go.
Ready to go. Yeah, you know. So that was a really good opportunity. But what was the question though about in terms of Gib?
With Gib, how did it feel? How did it feel sparring Gib? How is it being on the other side of Gib?
Man, it was. I knew I was gonna be tired, but I thought like when I hit him, because I caught him a few times. I thought it was like, okay. I figured, okay, he's gonna come out. I know he doesn't have the same power as JJ. You know what I'm saying? I know power isn't his thing. I'm gonna be able to withstand the shots. I'm not gonna be able. But after the third round, fourth round, I'm not in shape. I'm not gonna be able to hang with him in terms of going back and forth. So it's just gonna be ugly on my part. Like it's not gonna look good. So I knew I'm like, but I want to be a good sparring partner. So I'm gonna try to pace myself and hit him early, and then try to stun him a little bit, and then ride it out. Yeah. But I was hitting him early, and he was just taking it, and I was like, oh no. And that's why I knew after the second, third round. My coach goes, "Are you taking it easy?" I said, "No, coach, I can't breathe. I'm tired. This kid won't stop, bro." He said, "I'm just tired." Forward too, just leaning and leaning. Very relentless. And I hit him with some. There were some shots in there with some pretty heavy shots.
There were some good shots. Yeah, you did hit him with some good shots.
That he would. Because I still have a bigger frame than him, so there's a little bit heavier, but very tough, very tenacious.
You've been you're a warrior of the
I know, right?
boxing scene. Because you played them. No, you played a big part. Did Logan or Jake or any of them ever reach out to you for
yes, No, not during when it was all going on. I've talked with Logan. Okay. We were actually gonna do some sparring after he had the fight because he's like, oh yeah, let's do some sparring. It'd be cool. Just after, the whole thing with KSI was done, but literally COVID happened because they had the fight.
Oh, swear.
Oh yeah.
I know you're pissed because you would have had some views.
Yeah, and then the same thing with Jake. I was actually gonna go spar Logan and then spar Jake. So, but none of that. But it just hasn't happened. So, so Jake is still obviously with KSI. That's on the hold. I'm like, no, whatever. It's just. But I definitely want to spar Logan, and I wanted to do some. Because he was talking about like, kicking, because he wants to do MMA and then wrestling and stuff like that. So.
Oh yeah, Lee. Talking about that. CJMX called out Logan.
Yeah, but Logan dissed him, man.
What did he say? What did Logan say?
I think Logan, JMX must have said something about 100 racks, blah, 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 me versus you or whatnot. Then Logan must have said, what, is that all your YouTube revenue? But see, when they're talking against big dogs, you can't talk the money talk.
Yeah,
you can't talk serious
figures.
Man. You know what I'm saying? 100K.
Yeah. Because think about it, this guy's grossing some DAZN money. He's still he ain't even probably touched that money.
He ain't touched that. They ain't touched that money yet.
So let alone you don't do the 100 racks thing. He should have just said I can beat you up. But I think JMX. I don't know. That's interesting. That's an interesting fact. Because I know Logan did wrestle. MMA. He did wrestle.
The wrestling factor behind Logan.
That's for me.
A different story.
the speed of the speed factor in terms of wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'll tell you this right now, because Logan's a big dude. So when people talk about like in terms of the boxing thing with KSI, I'm like, when he's swinging like that, I'm like, I mean, you guys know, but I'm like, guys, it's when you spar someone or you fight someone with that kind of reach, it throws your technique way off because you have to deal with the whole element of trying to enter inside. You know? That's why everyone's like, how come you didn't fight against Logan like you fight against you? I'm like, because he's taller than me.
Completely different.
He's in the range is a lot more comfortable. But with JMX and Logan, I just think the wrestling aspect, because Logan can really wrestle.
Yeah, he can really wrestle.
He can wrestle.
He can really wrestle. Really wrestle. You know.
What division did he do?
So he competed in Ohio, which is like there's like a couple of states in United States where are really good.
Ohio's good, yeah.
And he competed in Ohio, not Ohio State, not the college, but in high school he was in Ohio. But where he competed, and he was a very well decorated high school wrestler. He was an all-state wrestler. So when it comes to high school, it doesn't get much better than him. Like he's in terms of high school, in terms of competing for wrestling, he's up there.
It's commonly said as well that wrestling is the best base for him to be an MMA fighter.
Wrestling and boxing.
Yeah, you got Muay Thai, not boxing.
I know. I knew why I was. I agree. Yes.
Don't gas me. Don't gas me now.
You got to look at it like this, Viddal. Yeah.
Yeah.
JMX. What's his like? What he can box. He's done a bit of Muay Thai now. But what's his ground game like? He hasn't done no ground game.
No, for real.
You know what I'm saying? No jiu-jitsu, no wrestling.
Hella ground and pound.
Yeah.
And wrestling is number one most important in MMA.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's not even close.
It's important.
Wrestling.
It's important.
Unless you're
that might be the new wave.
That
might be the new wave because we know the YouTube boxing thing is dying. It's pretty much dead.
Yeah.
We only got one fight left. You got Jake versus Nate, but I don't even count that anymore. That's not even in the community anymore.
That's not the community. That's not the community.
So it's Jake and JJ, and then it's dead. Yep. You know, I'm lucky I was involved for the couple years, managed to build off the wave. But MMA might be the next wave.
It's possible. It just, to me, Logan is like the precursor of that. He's someone, I said it a couple years ago in a video. I said if there's one person that could be like a celebrity or like a YouTube and go into MMA, it's Logan. You know what I mean? If he fought at 105 or something like that, 185 or like 205, as an amateur or something like that, or wanted to get on a card, if like they did with what was his name, the WWE
CM Punk. CM Punk.
Yeah, CM Punk. Yeah. Like Logan would wash CM Punk in a fight, in my opinion, in terms of like wrestling background, in terms of their abilities, and even like Logan's boxing. So there's potential there.
CM Punk looked kind of dead, you know. He looked kind of like CM Punk doesn't. Does he have a proper wrestling background? Does he have a?
Not really. It was his wrestling background. It was he did the that kind of wrestling, but he didn't have a real wrestling pedigree. Yeah, you saw Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar transferred over.
He's an actual wrestler though. He was a wrestler.
Division I wrestler. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
an actual wrestler. So big difference.
Big difference. Interesting stuff, man. So just to wrap it up, what's your future plans, man? What's on the horizon? What can we expect from FaZe Sensei before another YouTube fight is announced?
Well, it's funny as it seems. Actually, before COVID, I was actually connecting with there's American top team in Florida, a UFC gym, a popular team out there. I went down there to travel, and I was talking with some. I sparred Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. The UFC fighter.
That's cool.
And I went and trained with him. So my next thing was what I want to do is go to like, which I was gonna do. Steven's actually, Wonderboy is actually gonna invite me out to his next camp when he has his next fight. So what my plan is to like be that influencer who can also compete and bring like some notoriety and some eyeballs to like UFC fighters upon their camp, and then I get to train a little bit with them. And get to soak in what it's like to be a fighter during a camp, and I also just post for them the vlogs to promote their fight and stuff like that. So I get to go train with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, be a part of his camp, or Ioana Jędrzejczyk is another one they were talking about. That's that whole camp down in Florida. So that's the thing where, because of the name, I'm like, oh, this is something that's going to be really cool for me.
Nice.
COVID has really, put a damper on that. But I think post-COVID, that's like my main plan. That's like my big thing there. And they were talking about some commentating possibly. There were some like fight organizations and anything I can get involved in doing something like that in terms of UFC or MMA or anything like that. That's what I want to do, actually, personally.
Sick.
So that's it. Yeah, you'll do good. You'll do good at that. I can see you commentating and being a part.
Commentator,
get
I think
involved.
you'd be a great commentator.
Yeah, I love talking. That's one of my biggest things. So everyone always tells me that. So I'd love to do that. But then I can also get in there, like because people think I'm a YouTuber. I went down to Stephen Wonderboy Thompson at pro. It was a pro practice. It was a striking sparring camp. I got to spar his fighters and then spar with Wonderboy. So I can hold my own, if we're doing sparring in terms of striking and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool. I get to go out there and experience that.
Did you see the Dillian White KO?
Oh yes, that was a beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Ridiculous.
It wasn't even just it was the whole setup, the jab,
the whole setup,
uppercut,
the jab, the way he just rocked and then slipped it right underneath. It was literally. I'm like, this is picture perfect. That's insane.
He ain't
seen that shot. He didn't see it. Yeah, muscle memory.
No, he didn't see it. It's muscle memory. He's been practicing that boom, slip, bam. He's been practicing that probably for years. Years. That was just muscle memory. Because you got to remember, he got knocked down twice. He was probably concussed when he done that. He might have still had, you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So it's muscle memory.
It's true. Because remember, he went down twice the round before.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why it's always good to repetition. Keep repeating the same drills. Repetition is everything.
It is,
Boy, I feel sorry for
It's
Dillian
big.
White though now. But he's lucky he's got the rematch clause. But what? So what?
He said December, innit? He said
yeah, that's
December
when
he
he
wants
it.
the rematch.
November, December. But even if he wins the rematch, yeah, he's still not going to get the immediate.
Nah. I don't think he will. I don't think.
Of course not.
Plus
They're
the
gonna
whole
make
effect.
him fight.
The whole effect
they're going to make
is
him fight
gone.
Ortiz. He's going to have to fight Ortiz or Ruiz. That's what.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen. Then.
And I'm not gonna lie, Ruiz is not a good matchup for him.
Not a good matchup at all.
People will talk shit about Ruiz because of his second performance against AJ, but it's just his style is still not good for most heavyweights. It's not coming forward the way he does. Everything's kind of
the speed.
It's not good.
The speed.
Yeah, it's not
speed.
good. It's not
So
good.
fast for that size.
And you know White's going to be trying to go for them body shots. He's going to get peppered.
Yeah, he's gonna
Quick.
get peppered. He's gonna get peppered. AJ was kind of nice about it, as he.
Yeah,
as
you know,
he-
age
as he
gentleman,
did.
innit?
Gentleman, yeah. But look at home, he's yes. He's like, thank you know, Fury, Wilder, all of them are like, finally.
Because he was the spanner in their works, innit?
Yeah.
He was trying to mess up the pay. He was trying to mess up the payday.
He was trying to get involved in it, but nah, you know what? Hopefully in the rematch he learns his lesson because he was winning the fight. Winning the fight, so hopefully he learns his lesson in that. But yeah,
It's a
man,
tough
listen,
game.
this has been a good episode, good catch up, good to hear from you. And thanks for coming on, even though we've tried to get you hurt a couple of times.
It's all love.
It's all love.
It's all love. Hey,
it worked.
That's why I tell everyone, listen, JJ won the fight. It worked.
Yeah.
Whatever we did,
Yeah.
whatever
That's
y'all
true.
did, it worked. And that's the whole point.
It's
You know what
true.
I mean?
That's
The whole
true.
point is to get him the W, and he got it. So,
Yeah.
Happy times.
yes.
Happy times. But listen, people,
Thanks.
I hope you enjoyed the Real and Wills podcast. This is number 4. We'll see you soon. Next video will probably be a hit report. We'll catch up and see what we can do. But listen, love as always, like and subscribe. The channel is now monetized, so ka-ching, we're gonna start rolling in a little, a little fun. You know what? If you see a new car, it's thanks to you guys. But yeah, love everyone. Thank you.